game of his life, because yes, Lisa does have a lot of AoE, but besides that, you're so dialed into these mid to early game team fights where you're using this Renekton and Ahri, because if you're not getting value out of them early, they simply don't scale anywhere near as well as their opponents in those solo lanes. So look, there is certainly a world in which they're able to snowball beyond the point of no return with Lisa getting those items, getting that farm online. But certainly if we get to a state where the game's fairly even, it's 30 minutes in, then suddenly this Renekton and this Ahri aren't anywhere near as scary.
Totally won't be. They've made the game harder for themselves than maybe they need to, but either way, that's the situation we find ourselves in to kickstart the very first game in this series. It's a battle at the bottom of the table with KNG set in 6th position, Direwolves in 8th, with all these games to play to catch up on stage, and only a single point separates them. Any result here really could be the difference that determines whether or not they make it into that top 6. So really, there is a lot on the line, and comfort may not be enough.
A lot to play for here, and you have to imagine that Styx coming in this dire situation, he's certainly under some pressure himself, right? You can see Varus, one of his more preferable champions. He's gone for the Halo Blades Ghost combination as the hook's on a little bit of training, but nothing too consequential here. Varus, obviously, with that Halo Blades Ghost combo, like you said, Skimmy, at level 3 all-in is definitely a very real possibility. And the fact that you have a Tahm Kench into Nautilus, you actually feel quite safe playing this lane, right? You get to kind of be that bully that Varus wants to be and really throw around those E's, throw around those Qs. You can see already the priority going in favor of Kanga in this early lane.
Something to be expected, as Katsuri is similarly going to go for the farming variant at this stage. It's been a long time since I've seen Katsuri play as champion. I believe it would have been all the way back in 2020 when he was on the Chiefs himself for OPL and performed so well, even made one of those international LOL montages. Even despite him hitting the ultimate back to front. We won't talk about that. It was a good clip either way, but I'm excited to see him on this one, right? We also spoke at such great lengths as to how much of a leader, not only a carry, but a leader he is in his maturity and his experience. Obviously having spent time overseas as well, taking a bit of a break when he returned back home. But to come out now and say, look, I'm ready to go. I don't really care what games we have. I'm always going to see that win con. I just need to hope that my team is aligned on that same page. And as much as we sort of talk about that mid lane matchup, I'm thinking, seems a bit weird to try and counterpick yourself with this Ahri. Maybe it is all about just get the comfort, get into the rhythm. We've got a lot of games to get through right now. Let's just get that experience.
I think that really is the key consideration here for this Ahri, right? Emphas as well hasn't had the greatest individual showings in his previous games. Obviously, facing tough opponents in lane, but also, like you mentioned earlier, having to draw a lot of the attention from Lisa to kind of bail him out of losing situations. So, it will be nice to see him back here on this Ahri, as you can see already in a decent spot towards this lane. But this is what I was talking about earlier with the brand. He's just such a fast clearer that he's able to get down here nice and early, will have the priority to head towards the Scuttle Crab as well. So certainly taking advantage of what is still an incredibly fast clear here from this brand.
So he is, and you'd love to see that the lanes play out in a fashion where it allows him to be this aggressive to then actually control and dictate whether or not they can start at things like the Dragon or those Void Grubs. We know just how quick a brand can at least steal away one, even if that is across the wall. Obviously the position, be it blue side, wouldn't make that necessary, but the vision's been pretty good from the side of KNG, making sure they're tracking exactly where the fights are going on down. Speaking of, Riv actually decides to go back in, spin around to get a little bit of life leech, and surely now, for what it's a flash dash, and a flash as he gets taken down for first blood.
The solo kill master does it once again here. Wudon as the hook's onto Ryu Fury, might get charmed.
Really good hook into charm there. There is all the pebbles on the ground. It's not going to be enough, and Emphas on his coveted Ahri gets a kill in return.
Both comfort picks on either side here really finding the value. Wudon just taking advantage of a very nice wave state. He acknowledges that River is going to have to trade into him and just follows him up. A really nice cancel with that E as well to get that auto attack reset and take him down despite the flash coming through from River. And meanwhile, Ryu Fury does fall down. So nice value out of this Ahri early on with that charm and a really nice roam from Shinky, who has been falling back into stride in this support role.
He certainly has. It was a fantastic hook. Really thread the needle. You're thinking, surely it doesn't connect, but it did. Was enough for Ryu Fury to feel bailed out with a flash being burnt, and that is the early CC combo before really the strength of that KNG 2v2 can come online. As for the Renekton note, maybe a bit of a reason why we don't see this champion as often these days when Cassandre just does it better. If you don't win early, you certainly feel a little bit rough later on. But if he were to be left to his devices and entertain the idea that Wooden wants to be very much stuck in top lane on his own, then they could just hit each other and keep that flash and TP on CD Perma.
Wudon's gone for a Tarby's rush here as well, so kind of saying that okay, my number one priority is to avoid dying in lane, but looks like the priority for the Direwolves now will be these Void Grubs. First one's already gone down, but River's got no flash, Kimmy.
Doesn't have any flash, he's in a lot of trouble right now, but can slice and dice at the safety. Lisa also betting his flash to run away from that one, as two get picked up by the Direwolves, the other by Kanga, and then ripped back by Woodon as he finds his second.
No flash Renekton is the easiest target in the world there. You can see as well that the World Ender did come through for Woodon there, just ticked 6 off the top wave. So now this Aatrox, I mean, yes, you lose 2 grubs, but now you're up 2 kills on this top lane. Feeling very good here is this Kanga top laner, who we already kind of mentioned early on. Just the work that he's able to get done in those isolated 1v1s. Yes, he hasn't had the greatest teamfight showings, but simply, Skimmy, I mean, if you're smashing your lane opponent like this, you really don't need to be.
It does not matter as we find a fight in the mid lane as well. Both limping away as they're fairly low, down to 40%. Emphas though in a fair bit of trouble. The orb's not going to be enough. The life leech is not there. And Fury gets a solo kill. I'll tell you what, these Kanga solo laners, they're out for blood.
I'm not sure what happened there from Emphas. He kind of just stood and tanked all of Fury's damage. The Q cooldown potentially catching him off guard there. We can see again this replay. Yes, Brand does these incredibly fast, but look at River's positioning, right? He has to use the double dash just to kind of get out of the way of Woodon initially, and then by the time those chains land, he has no mobility to escape. Just a clean kill for Woodon there on the Aatrox.
It certainly is. It's a scary prospect, given that they are so far ahead, and we already talked about some of the limitations, perhaps, that this draft would present them. The saving grace has been some phenomenal roams by Shinky, which has allowed Katsuri to get a little bit of extra solo experience and not get punished. Certainly not going to be too upset by that one as an AD carry player. As you work your way to all those stacks to become a real late game powerhouse, but you're certainly going to be a little bit concerned about the way the rest of these lanes are going. Shinky though, flash hook heal, is it enough? It's certainly not. With the ignite and those rain of arrows, they just do so much damage.
Emphasis coming down, but there's no ultimate available. Kurak's going back in.
Certainly is. Katsuri baiting with the flash to try and keep them interested for the meantime. The root goes out, the vision is lost, but the charm is there as Emphasis makes a great roam from mid to bot. The piercing arrow gets it done as Styx steals away a miracle kill.
That piercing arrow there finding its target. The bot lane from Kanga really seems to have picked up where they left off in terms of this aggression, constantly pushing the pace. Just the burst damage to come through from this Varus was too much. Shinky holds his flash a little bit too late. The Styx has been caught. The ult's back on.
Memphis right in his face. Guarantees the charm connects. Great patience, and that's the sign of an Ari main.
Ari main will be rewarded there for that roam towards bot lane finally. I mean, without the ult there on that initial play, you kind of assume that Kanga would just be able to walk out. But let's take another look at this bot lane play. You can see all it is really is Kurak just channeling this W onto Shinky, who's slowed, and he doesn't flash initially. That initial flash not coming out means that if that Q hits, you're going to be absolutely nuked, and that's exactly what happens there. Styx with these piercing arrows, kind of just an aimbot, as Kurak as well. I'm not sure if he reads the roam here and decides that he wants to go back in anyway, but it's a nice Q from Styx here to kind of salvage what would have been another roam, as we're right back into it.
Certainly are right back into it. It is Shinky at the receiving end of all that pain and punishment. 3-1 now is this Varus as Kurak works his magic once again and is able to tank up down to 100 HP. And I tell you what, as far as the debut goes, I feel like Styx is slotting in very nicely.
He's crushing it, absolutely, on this Varus, right? So much kill threat, so much burst potential, and Kanga absolutely know that. Yes, it's a center Nautilus, but really, this Nautilus isn't anywhere near being tanky, especially because he's not going the farming variant, so his gold income will be severely delayed compared to if you were picking those CS up yourself. And you can see the top lane just concentrating back and forth. River does have the priority, but he's got to sacrifice his HP to do so. So with his grubs spawning in a little bit, it will be interesting to see where these junglers are placing their priorities. It looks like bot lane is the answer for now. Yeah,
very tough situation for Lisa to find himself in, no doubt about it. He wants to be the carry, but not going to be able to do much about that. What a Shinky headbutts the wall, gets a major headache as nothing comes of it. Resigns himself to death there, and Kanga, I tell you what, they have so much priority. They really can do as they please.
You just cannot walk up in this bot lane if you're the Direwolves right now. There is just too much CC, too much damage. And just coming onto Shinky once again, whenever he walks up here, this Nautilus has just been absolutely farmed here from Kanga so far, and that'll translate into the first dragon of the game.
First dragon, 2k golded as well. Kanga certainly in the best possible situation, only 10 minutes into this one. You can check in with the lanes and say, well, it's looking fairly even. The only major difference in the saving grace would be this man on your screen right now in terms of this Brand. He's already got the Rylai's. He got 2 stacks before and seemingly about to get all 5 after picking up the remaining ones here now. And surely, Max, this is their out. This is their way to get back into this one.
You're absolutely hoping so if you are a Direwolves fan right now. Lisa, like you mentioned, taking advantage of that kind of window in the bot lane where all the members of KNG are hitting that dragon to pick up those 5 Void Grubs. And this Brand now 22 CS up on his opponent, feeling very nice with that Rylai's completed. So he really will be the player to keep your eye on as this game progresses, as he is your major source of AoE damage, right? You can see the bot lane items right now. Sticks, full Youmuu's completed, compared to the Serrated Dirk and Rectrix that Katsuri will pick up just off his base there. So certainly across the board, KNG are feeling quite strong. It will be a question of how they can get Lisa involved into these fights.
It does beg the question, and who feels more, akin to want to try and start up that fight, because the Titanic Hydra having now been complete certainly means that Invictus is by no means behind. And the option here from Refury to go for the Ludens as opposed to perhaps the Archangel's tech. Doesn't actually want to really go for any of that mitigation. Just wants to do pure damage at this point. And I think given that you are so far ahead, I'm not going to dispute that.
KNG are really playing like it though as well. They've acknowledged their advantage. You can see Refury on this Talia has been constantly hovering towards this bot lane anytime he gets a roam in. So not only does that kind of enable Sticks to use this advantage to really press forward, but it also means that Direwolves are dissuaded from bringing that Brand down and trying to find a play of their own, because it is so hard to walk into any of the members of KNG with how much CC they have. Shinky, will he fall victim yet again?
Please don't do it, Shinky, as we toggle the vision between what we can see and what they can see. In the end, they decide it's not the right play, and they see that that's exactly where Lisa's at. Is he distracted? Is he looking at the shot? Great flash.
Good flash.
Huge awareness as he dodged out that one as well from Katsuri.
A little bit of a jinx there as we both kind of acknowledge how good that flash is from Lisa, but dodges the chains of corruption. But you can see already, kind of to my previous point, of how hard it is to actually find a play on the bot side, but Refury is finding one in the mid lane here.
He's peppering them down. It actually is enough to full set the Spirit Rush to safety. His emphasis is really feeling the punishment. Back to the bot lane we go. Max range and hook doesn't connect, but Kurak somehow has been caught in the disengage out.
I'm not sure what happened there. We'll have to get a replay as we saw towards the mid lane. This Talia pick, which, let me remind everybody, this Ahri was picked into this Talia. This was a voluntary choice from Memphis to pick this matchup. As we take a look at this bot lane here, Kurak, like you said, I think just gets a little bit overconfident, doesn't realize that Lisa is still in the area, which, to be honest, I wouldn't really even have thought of because of the fact that he just used his flash in that previous play. But a nice kind of opportunity taken there from Lisa, who picks up his first kill.
Really promising signs then for Direwolves to have a carry threat as River gets aggressive in the top lane, just returns with that TP and a Black Cleaver to boot. He's ready to rock and roll as Lisa rocks up to the lane, TP in from Refury as he literally just walks away, and even Kurak is here. Everybody up in the top lane.
Everyone's here. Herald spawning in 30 seconds, and River is a very strong Crocodile right now with that Cleaver completed. You can see that the respect having to be shown, but here's another TP,
Weaver's
and there's no flash on Lisa.
I don't know where to go this time. There is the flip, there is the knockback, there is the knock up, and there is the kill confirmed. And if you can't find it in the mid lane, then Refury just roams to find it elsewhere.
Lisa, unfortunately, realizing how hard it is to play Brand without any mobility. You can see the Weaver's Wall from Refury gets so much value, right? The second that comes out, he knows he is dead. And with all 5 members of KNG currently being towards this top side, you have to imagine that this just will be a free Rift Herald going into the hands of KNG.
Seems to be a done deal at this stage, and you're not going to see any real movement from Direwolves as a result. The only lane they can look to try and target is that bot lane, which is exactly what Emphasis is working on right now. So they'll find their very first turret, the first of the game as well. Seismic shot, blind in the wall is good, but the charm connects, and the damage is matched. Spirit Rush, dodge the vision, and break the line of attack as they both walk away worse for wear, but the fight continues now with the Herald picked up here by Invictus as a Gout disengaging away. An Abyssal Dive and a Flash being burnt, and Direwolves at least get something.
They get something there. Unfortunately, on the bot side, you can see Empus having a really hard time in this 1v1 as Refury continues to push the pace here. Oh, that Q just a centimeter away from landing from Woodon. Could have really forced a kill there with this Sundered Sky now picked up for this Aatrox. So won't be heading towards the lethality route that we have been seeing so often. Instead opting to get a little bit of more survivability in his kit, wanting to be a bit more of a frontline member to really tank up all the damage that is coming out. Because if you can survive that initial burst, like we said, from this Direwolves roster, there is a significant lack of damage to come after that. And now KNG wanting to head towards this Mountain Dragon. They've shoved in the mid wave, and are looking to add to their Dragon collection for this game.
They certainly are. They know how strong they are, that they can group up even on vision and know, well, what is really the response. Look how much vision they have, as our observers kindly demonstrate exactly my point here. They know exactly where Lisa is. They know they're under no real threat to have this Dragon contested. 2 are taken. Soul now certainly looking like they're, real win condition as well. Is it going to be an Infernal one of all things? So they've already been so on point with their rotations. They pick up those Infernal shards, and you're absolutely terrified.
Well, an Infernal Soul Varus is an incredibly scary prospect, especially given how well scaled into this game Styx is currently. You can see 3-1-1 on this Varus. Is that just a center ult to try to clear the wave? I'm not sure what Shinky's going for there. Maybe there was a Soul a little bit far out that he wanted to pick up, and then nonetheless, that Dawning Shadow will go out as River's getting aggressive towards his top side.
Certainly is. Conqueror stacked up, drops the Dominus and says it's time to fight 1v1, but it's the Sun to Sky Aatrox. You'd bet that he would win that one every day of the week right now, but River's certainly taking it to him. He feels like he's strong enough with the Black Cleaver active. He goes in for the kill, and he gets the shutdown. He's surrounded by 3 afterwards and says, look, in isolation, I've got my revenge. And now Dai will surely look to try and utilize that by pressuring this mid-tier 1.
The solo kill Demon is just taken out in a 1v1 there. River just completely running him down there, the long lane, enabling him to use that double cast of E, but Shinky's being caught.
He has been caught. Good buff on the dredge line, gets him out of trouble for the meantime. Crescent Guard goes out to try and block all this damage from afar, but Invictus, as soon as he jumps in, realizes there's not really much to come of it, as the lonesome Void Might pans its way over.
Poor sad little Void Miters. This mid lane control really has been the focal point for both of these teams ever since freeing their bot lanes, right? Especially with the Varus, this center, it becomes so hard to play on these mid waves with the amount of CC that can come through, right? A Chain of Corruption, there's no cleanse to address that. So if that lands, it is almost certainly a death, especially since you don't have the luxury of a Tahm Kench to back you up. So as we head into this mid game, I am really expecting this mid lane to be the focal point, right? We have the Herald in the hands of Invictus. As we can see, both teams converging on mid lane now. That sweeper crucially will miss Fury and Invictus.
Certainly will, but Emphastar still had the vision in that wall as they look to try and force out the fight. Chain of Corruption getting dodged out by the Spirit Rush. If he goes any further up, he'll find himself a wood on as the TP comes in from River, and we all butt heads in the mid lane. A full 5v5 with no major objective up in sight. This is the posturing and positioning you'd look to expect if a Dragon was on the line.
This has to be the most anticlimactic 5v5 of all time. Styx, crucially, does use the flash, though. Tries to hit that flash Chain of Corruption as River steals the Scuttle Crab. But that's a big cooldown gone, right? A lot of this Varus' survivability is really now in question, and so is the survivability of this mid lane turret. 4 members of Direwolves will just take that one down.
They certainly will. With Kanga spread in the end, it means it's very easy to finish what they did start in that mid lane and continue to allow Lisa to seize opportunities to say, I just need to farm, working his way towards that Leandries to be a real menace in this game. But as we check in with the overall gold in the economy, still very much favoured for Kanga despite them closing up the gap. And a lot of that would be in thanks to Emphas.
Emphas really far ahead right now, almost 1,000 gold up over Styx, who is the next closest in that terms of that gold. You can see sitting on that Malignant and very close to completing his second item as well here. So this Ahri, yes, it has a bit of a rough time 1v1 versus the Talia, but certainly capable of getting work done in those skirmishes, right? You're dashing forward, you've got a Nautilus and a Renekton both behind you to kind of add that supplementary CC if his charm lands. So a very scary prospect as we head into this next Dragon spawn. Lichbane completed, very potent item at the moment, right? With the amount of damage you're able to do as an Ahri, especially throwing out those W's, kiting, kind of playing like a Marks Mage almost in that mid lane position. As once again, mid lane will be the focus. Herald is summoned here. No one's driving it for the time being, though. Both teams acknowledging that they want to pull the trigger at any moment.
Certainly do. They're going to be looking to try and find those picks. That's what their entire comp is built around. If the charm lands, then they're certainly keen to make a fight happen as a result. With Refury at the very end decides, you know what, I will in fact jump in. Let's guarantee that this tower falls on down and even up the deficit in this mid lane. Both tier 1s destroyed. That next Dragon to look forward to now in under 60 seconds. And I do wonder, Max, with the flashes being burnt on both Styx and Kurak, there's a real possibility that the Tahm Kench isn't actually going to be that saving grace right now. As Emphas, not the situation you want to be. Crescent Guard negates it, Spirit Rush divides it. As River finds himself in a sticky situation, burns his ultimate, and realizes that everybody has taken a bit of a beating here, but walks back in for the seismic shove. They say, that's just too easy then, and capitalize on it beautifully. Lisa burns the flash, but gets pebbled down, and thankfully receives the heal from Senna.
Huge fight there from Kanga. It almost looked like it was going to be another standstill. But it starts with Emphas walking up a little bit too far, being forced to boil in the altars. Katsuri looking onto sticks here.
Chains missed though, so no route for the meantime. A fantastic shove away. Katsuri completely stuck, caught, and out of position. And Ryu not one to settle for just a single kill. Is hunting for the second. There it is. Flicking back and pick it right up.
He doesn't stop Ryu Fury in the mid lane. He didn't give us much in the interview, but he's certainly giving us a lot to talk about now. This Taliyah, so aggressive. You can see off the back end there, Katsuri and Shinky wanting to potentially catch out sticks. An isolated Varus without flash is a very appealing target. But let's take a look at how this all starts here. You can see Emphas just caught off guard by this vision here. Invictus wants to get the one shot, but it's enough to force him to run away. And then by that point, the front line is so isolated for Direwolves that they have to retreat. And River simply not respecting Ryu Fury's damage here, not respecting his position. And him going down is really the start of the bad things to come for Direwolves. You can see Lisa barely getting out, escaping that Taliyah and Varus Q. But that means it will be a third dragon into the hands of Kanga. One dragon away from this Infernal Soul that is just so deadly on the likes of Taliyah and Varus.
Well, they already do so much damage here. It'd be absolutely terrifying if that one comes online as well. And it's just a curious decision that River decides to go back in, given that your most fed member in the Ahri is the first one out. Clearly indicating that the fight was over from that point onwards, and it had a bit of a knock-on effect, right, with the fact that the flashes had to be burnt ultimately. So it's a weird situation to find themselves in. And once again, hands across the gold lead to Kanga, back up by nearly 3,000. And in a very comfortable spot to then shut down the split push pressure for these Void Grubs to find maximum value and to really dictate the vision line as to saying, if you try and sneak a Baron, it's just not going to be possible.
It's not going to be possible at all, as we can see. A little bit of posturing here. Kanga, luckily, will acknowledge that their lack of vision means that they shouldn't be walking in. No unnecessary risks needing to be taken at this point, right? If you're Kanga, you feel very comfortable kind of waiting out this next 4 or so minutes until a dragon spawns, and then you can really kind of have that Baron flip as a potential option. Whereas if you're the Direwolves right now, you need to make something happen. You don't want to get into a situation where you're forcing to trade between either an Infernal Soul or a dragon. And it looks like with all this topside control, Baron will be the focus. They have a brand, they have a center, so it goes down fairly quickly. But still, all this CC available for Kanga. Invictus is just staring at River right now. Wudon is moving down. You can see on the minimap here.
There you go. The collapse begins as it does get taken by Kanga in the end. The 2v1 happens. The slice and dice is not enough to run him out, so he has to burn the flash too, but then locked inside that chain, surrounded by 4 in the end. And down for 40 seconds as Direwolves have to hang on.
Not only that, Katsuri has the flash because of a really nice W there from Kurak. So all around the board, summoners and kills going in the favor of Kanga. It was really nice play by Victus to wait a little bit until Wudon was in position, and then the early flash to force that E to come out as Kurak's been engaged on.
It certainly has been. If it's not Shinky, it's Curate. These supports have certainly beared the brunt of a fair bit of damage. No stun to deny that Abyssal dive away to safety. And the fixed skin offering so much mitigation on that occasion. But Fury flanking from the right-hand side says, I've got a pick. The charm crucially misses, and the Taliyah stays alive for such a long time. The shield from the Archangels is blocked, and the fight works so well in Kanga's favor.
Fancy feat from Ryu there. That charm hitting would have been a death sentence, but luckily he's able to kite behind those Raptors, really use that camp and that position to his advantage. And then once the boys come in, they're able to buy enough space that he ends up staying alive. And honestly, the Direwolves feeling a little bit desperate right now. This Baron will be started up now. This isn't on any vision. Invictus kind of smells something is up here. He will face check, but there's no flash to get into the pit.
He certainly won't know just yet as he does go across, realizing, look, there's no chance. It'd be far too greedy. And ultimately, Direwolves do decide to back away in the end. It's a weird situation to find yourself in because Direwolves are feeling pressed to make something happen, but they're just trying to do it all around this mid lane.
You can see they really want to get aggressive on this mid lane. They've identified Kurak as the target because you can't devour yourself this time, Kench. That's one of the clear drawbacks and ways of countering that champion. But Kurak gets out using the flash, and then Ryu Fury actually seismic shoves Shinky over the wall here. I'm not sure he was intending to do that, but this Raptor camp is really the saving grace here. Able to get behind that, able to use it as a bit of a shield and keep himself alive there. Unfortunately for the Direwolves, Shinky will go down in response. And it really feels like this Nautilus has been paying for their sins so far. 0 and 5 here is this support. as the dragon's spawning. Someone's going to have to face check, and with all this damage on Kanga, that's not going to be a fun job.
Yeah, and who has the flash to do it? Right now, it's only Lisa on the side of Direwolves available, and you certainly don't want him to be the one to lead the line. It's a weird situation, but one that certainly screams that they're going to have to trade something. There will be blood. A blood price for this one to be paid. The only flash available isn't going to be burnt. Lisa just tanks it. He just tanks it and waddles away in the end as they realize, look, that dragon's not too far away, but this is not a good sign when your jungler's already this low.
And look at Woodon here. He's got a fantastic flank here. Weaver's Wall comes out.
He looks to try and find the target he's after to take that Brand away. Flash, smash. The Thunder Sky proccing to delete Brand from the game. Surrounded by multiple as River once again down for his 6th death of the game. This time, the seismic shove doesn't land, but Refury flashes with conviction to get himself a kill on the board. And this team fight from start to finish, all things Kanga.
Kanga with the perfect team fight set up there. They have control of the mid wave, chunking out Lisa before the fight even starts. And then it's Woodon on this Aatrox. He finally gets involved in a team fight, and how dominant is it from that point? Lisa uses the flash, but ultimately not able to actually create anything. And that means it's going to be an Infernal Soul going over to Kanga.
Certainly is. 4 back-to-back dragons, uncontested has it been here for the side of Kanga, as they have really broke open this game to be theirs to lose now. Up by 5,000, every flash being burnt, and the perfect Weaver's Wall to create that pressure.
It's really nice from Refury here. Direwolves miss all of their initial engage, right? The Charm and the Hook both missing, meaning that Kanga have a really free go of things here. You can see Lisa just unable to create space versus this Aatrox, who has so much mobility, so much damage at this point in the game. And when you're facing a flank like that while already being chunked so hard, it's almost impossible to win that fight. You can see Katsuri does what he can, but simply this center does not have the damage as Kanga certainly do.
Yeah, certainly doesn't at this stage. Only 65 stacks complete as the center, as another one falls on down. And now Kanga really well and truly are saying, this Baron, it won't be a dance. We want this for sure.
Yeah, and Lisa, how does he actually walk in here? No flash, might be walking into Refury as well.
He's face checks the seismic shove and realized, look, this Talia is out of control. Welcome back to the meta, and this is why we weren't keen to see it. And yeah, 5-1-5 unleashed would be an understatement now, as Woodon, very keen for his PvE shenanigans, is one to definitely zone away Emphis and make sure that he can't sneak away a kill. Deny a Baron buff as the Abyssal Dive goes across the wall to Tongue Lash. Not connecting, but still on the hunt for kills as Woodon knocking down River from afar. But with the chains being broken, they've got 5 Baron buffs. Now, the siege begins for inhibitors.
And now the siege is so potent. Not only do you have this Baron, but you also have this Infernal Soul. So Direwolves, they need to do something or else they're just going to fall victim to this poke. You can see how much Styx is getting done already. And whilst this is all happening, Refury pushing waves towards that bot lane. Woodon's ran mid as well, so there's 3 waves of pressure coming in now. Styx!
Wow. Well, your most fed member, they've just fallen on down, and Styx wants to send a clear statement in this one. I've arrived at his team. This is my pro debut, and I am by no means a downgrade for this roster. The pressure being on, but one to rise to it. Certainly primed and ready to go here to take this entire series 2-0.
But Skimmy, there's all 4 members of the Direwolves in towards this top lane. As correct goes on to Shinky.
And he does look for it. Flash being burnt again. Started off, but it's a 1-3-1 as every single lane is getting pushed, but still Direwolves are losing it. The Devour comes out, denying any kind of retribution that Direwolves are hunting for. They're going to lose this tower in the top lane. It's going to fall in the bot lane as Refury picks up an inhibitor. Meanwhile, mid lane, still Woodon challenges in the 1v1. It doesn't really matter because still top lane, Invictus decides to flash across and say, I might be low, but it's not going to deter me from my overall goal here. Pops the ultimate, gets one. Lisa with no mana, no cooldowns, is an easy second pick as well. Katsuri finds at least something there with the shutdown, his first kill of the game. But is it too little, too late? It certainly feels that way, as he'll have to burn the flash to try and follow that kill. 2 found, but the price is so high because their base has been shattered.
Their base will be shattered, and Emphasis' hopes might be as well, as Refury takes him down, just barely living there. Kanga all across the board. It's a fiasco in the top lane. Almost everyone on the Direwolves locked in to try to find the fight there. But meanwhile, their base is being broken open. TP back from Refury. They're looking to close out game 1.
Looking to end the game with 50 seconds left on this Baron buff. They have well and truly stamped their authority in this game, Max. Kanga, 25 kills. They certainly did go in Kang Bang.
They absolutely did. Styx here coming in as the MVP.